Hi, this is Ladey from Keep On Frozen Ministries. I turned a corner. I turned a corner in my wall, in the walled garden that I'm building. And it was momentous because it changes things. It's changed the direction. The wall, which was at the back, and then the walled garden that I'm building from it, was just a plain wall until I turned the corner. Now, the dream I had about how I was building this walled garden began to take shape, and I could really feel the practicality and see the vision that I had created in my mind probably 2, 3, 4 years ago when we'd planned this, which brought to mind how many times in our lives do we turn a corner? How important is it for us to turn corners in our lives? And what changes does that bring? What new direction does that bring? And what's our attitude towards that kind of adventure? Now, we can turn corners with good attitudes and not so good attitudes. They can be a forced change of direction, or it could be a chosen change of direction. But whatever, it brings new opportunities, and you're going forward, which means there are adventures to be had. There are new people to meet, new ways of using the skills that you have, and also really stepping into the plan that God has for your life. The plans which means that you're fulfilling your potential, because it is all about moving forward, not staying still and turning those corners. I reflect a little bit on Jesus' life and think, well, what corners did Jesus take? Well, one corner which his mother tried to make him take was at the wedding when she asked him to turn the water into wine. He did, but he made it very clear that this wasn't his corner to take at that moment. So major milestones could be regarded as corners. And I guess for Jesus, the time he chose when his timing was right to actually call the disciples was one of his corners. Now, and also obviously for Peter, for Andrew, for all those that he called, it was a huge corner in their lives. They could have stayed doing the jobs that they were doing, the family business that they were involved in. But no, they actually responded to Jesus and met him and walked with him and took the corners that he then offered. For Jesus, another huge corner was in the Garden of Gethsemane, when he prayed to the Father and said, do I really have to take this cup? Is this a corner I really have to take? And then come to the conclusion, yes, this is what I agreed with you. This is why I came, was to take this particular corner. A corner of suffering, a corner of giving his life so that you and I can live. So what about your corner? Where are you? What corners in life do you take? Is it a change to do with health? Is it a change to do with family? Is it a change to do with jobs? A new promotion? Or just a new kind of work? All of them are corners. Now, we can have little bends in the road, but they are not the same as a corner. To tackle a corner, you have to think about it. You have to consider what's gone before, what might be ahead of you. You don't take a corner carelessly, unless you want to be run off the road or end up in a ditch. The corners that I make in building this wall have to be done deliberately. I have to have the spirit levels right, not just on the corners, but vertically, horizontally, across. I have to make sure the walls are balanced so that they don't look strange. And it takes me a lot more time to do a corner than it does a stretch. Isn't this the same for life? Corners have to be approached with thought, with prayer, to know, is this the right corner to take? Am I preparing myself well so that the corner will take me in the direction that God wants me to go? so that I can be all that God wants me to be. Turning a corner can be making a decision, and what decisions you make obviously affect the rest of your life. Some of my momentous decisions would be marrying Dennis, having my daughters, but recently actually writing Unfrozen and producing a book and subsequent books and then going into publishing. All of these are corners in my life. And Unfrozen as the book was momentous because it did have a complete change as I worked out my feelings, and it was cathartic in the subject about meeting disappointment, disillusionment and discouragement, and going through those and coming out the other side. Without doing that book, I couldn't have gone on to do the colouring books. I couldn't have gone on to do Colouring 101 with Abbey Rose. And I certainly couldn't have gone on to do publishing and really help other authors fulfill their dreams. The new podcast is another corner, because I have to devote some time to it. But I'm quite excited about that direction, because it's where reaching out to would-be authors and people who see life through a different lens, the lens of faith. So that is just a wonderful opportunity. So is your corner an opportunity? Is it something that you go, oh, I'm looking forward to this? Or is it like when I set out to do Unfrozen, I wasn't sure where it was going to lead at all? And even different corners I will have to, there are different corners I will have to negotiate and decide whether that is really where God wants me to be. Tell me about your corners in life, which were great corners, which were not so good corners. What corners are you facing at the moment? And I will prayerfully walk alongside you and say, take your corners by keeping unfrozen.